You are Locked On Heat Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Miami on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What is up, Heat fans? Welcome to your Locked On Heat Postcast. My name is Jim Grieshaber. Call me Grease at @JimGrease_ on social media. And wow, man, the Miami Heat played a little bit better in this game than they did in the season opener. Not early, but late when it mattered down the stretch. They brought it home. They beat the Charlotte Hornets tonight. That's right, I said the Charlotte Hornets. 114-96 the final as the Heat go to 1-1 on the season. Jimmy Butler, a big fourth quarter. Terry Rozier, another good game. Tyler Herro, 5 3-pointers, over 20 points tonight, 22. So Miami gets back even on the season. They're 1-1 on the year. First things first, Grease lets you know that your favorite podcast now has a newsletter. Introducing the Locked On Heat daily newsletter. One stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com to start your day with the all-new free Locked On Heat newsletter as we continue to just blow things up here in the podcast world with Locked On. Just an unbelievable run that we are on right here. And tonight's episode brought to you by FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. That's right. Place your first $5 bet and you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets. That's $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. All right, Miami with a 114-106 win. Jimmy Butler, baby, down the stretch they come. Jimmy Butler making the plays, doing things for Miami in this game that Jimmy Butler is accustomed to doing, that we're accustomed to seeing Jimmy Butler do, that we didn't see Jimmy Butler do when he scored 3 points in the season opener. Bam was no good either. He was better tonight. Jimmy Butler, 13 points in the fourth quarter, 26 overall. So half of his points coming when it mattered the most for Miami. 5 threes for Tyler and 22 points for him. They spoiled the home opener for Charlotte. 8-point win for the Heat. 19 points for Rozier. Bam, 12 and 11. 11 being rebounds for Miami. And Jimmy Butler with the 26 points, 8 assists, 8 rebounds. Offense flowing through him. Defense, deflections, blocks, things like that. And they needed every bit of it from Jimmy. LaMelo Ball might have been the best player on the floor in this game. 27 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists for the Hornets. An emotional night. Their longtime PA announcer, Pat Dowdy, had died, and they did a fundraiser, like a benefit concert for the victims of Hurricane Helene, which decimated the Carolinas, as you know, less than a mile away. Eric Church, one of the Hornets' minority owners, played in that concert. But the basketball team themselves, the Hornets, they're 1-2. 20 turnovers in this game. Twice whistled for 5-second calls. Miami's defense came up. So you could tell what Spo did right after game one. The offense, new offense they implemented, looking out of sorts. Even early in this game, Butler wasn't getting shots. So what they do, they did what the Miami Heat always do. They crank up the defensive intensity like a constrictor, like an anaconda that don't want none unless you got buns, hon. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, down the stretch, 3 different rallies by the Hornets, squashed by Miami. Big threes from Butler, Herro, and Duncan Robinson tonight. And yeah, man, that was really nice to see. You know, Miami had a double-digit lead in the fourth quarter, got cut to 3 with about a minute and a half left. It always happens in NBA games, right? Then Herro hits that big 3 from the top of the key. Remember, he had no points in the second half in the opener against Orlando. Miami tonight, interestingly enough, 33 assists on their 40 baskets in this game. They host Detroit on Monday. We'll be here live right after that game with the postcast. Speaking of postcast, tomorrow, I love you, tomorrow. You're only a day away from the Dolphins getting Tua back against the Cardinals, and we'll have that postcast for you tomorrow right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So big win for Miami tonight on the road in Charlotte. You know, a big second quarter. They go up 8 at the end of the second at halftime. In the third, they win by 3. They're up 11. They got outscored by 3 in the fourth by Charlotte, but you know what? No big deal for the Miami Heat. They got it done tonight in very impressive fashion. As I said, they shot 46% from the field. And if you look at the numbers for this game, Miami 41% from 3, Charlotte 31% from 3. The free throws Miami shot 7 more, made 5 more than the Hornets. Free throw percentage, absolutely even. Rebounds, Miami lost by 3, and not real great there, but the 33-20 number on the assists is really good for the Heat. Turnovers, 20 for Charlotte, only 14 for Miami. The fast break points, 18-13 in favor of the Heat. Points in the paint, even at 46 apiece, which was a big improvement over the way they got dominated by Herro and Franz Wagner against Orlando in the season opener. Their largest lead was 14. The Hornets had a lead up to 7. The Heat were a 5.5-point favorite in this game. They covered the spread. The total was 223. That did not come in this game, but a good win for Miami. Nonetheless, I mean, a really good win for the Heat as they go to 1-1 on the season. Hey, it was a night when the Miami Hurricanes beat Florida State 36-14. And again, you got the Dolphins and Cardinals tomorrow. And man, what a nice win for the Heat to go to 1-1 on the season. And of course, you can watch us right here on YouTube, and you can see us wherever you can listen to us. Not see us, you can listen to us wherever you get your podcasts, right? Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeart, you know what I'm saying. A little bit of everything here with your Locked On Heat postcast. Jim Grieshaber call. Me, Grease, will have the graphics a little bit later in the show for you. Obviously, the player of the game, the final score, and the turning point for you. 1-1 on the season. Butler serves Hornets in 4th. Yeah, the Butler didn't the other night, but the Butler did it tonight. Chicago Bulls on Monday. As I said, it should say Detroit Pistons. That's my bad. Detroit basketball. But yeah, we got the Canes jacket from 1995. You know, it's old with the Nike on there. But thanks again, by the way. We did our crossover on Friday, Alex Dono and myself. Huge views on that again. Don Canes postcast are doing amazing numbers. Dolphins are as well. And we just continue to grow here on the Locked On Podcast Network. You know what I'm saying? Your team every day, all kinds of things happening, all kinds of things heading your way as we continue to grow and build right here. And that's something that really is awesome as we grow. And so we are, excuse me, we're going full speed ahead here. Locked On Heat postcast again, 114-106. We ran through the numbers for you. We talked about the scoring. You know, Jimmy Butler with a couple of and ones. And look, when you give Jimmy the ball on the block, you know, I mean, he's going to find somebody. He's going to score. He's going to make the right play. And Jimmy Butler, very, very efficient with that sort of thing. So a great start for Jimmy Butler in this game tonight, because in the 4th quarter, he closed it out. And that's something that he can really, you know, kickstart and get that momentum going. And because they need Jimmy to do that right now in a major way, major way. All right, you're watching your Locked On Heat postcast. Jim Grieshaber. Call me Grease. Going to hit our first break of the night in just a minute. But before we do, man, what, you know, so interesting about basketball, game in and game out, even quarter to quarter, right? The consistency and the inconsistency of some players like Tyler Herro, no points in the second half the other night. After playing really well in the first half, they shut him down. On a night when Jimmy and Bam brought you nothing, he was nowhere. Well, tonight he kept it going and was consistent throughout the game with the 5 threes to 22 points, the big one down the stretch. Duncan Robinson, big one down the stretch as well. And Bam made a couple of big plays. And look, the Hornets with the 5-second calls, turnovers, Miami's defense was strong tonight. And that's, again, we talked about this at the opening of the show. That's the Heat way. You get your offense through defense, through pressure, through deflections, through blocks, tip balls, anything that ignites that fast break and gets easy points or gives you more possessions in the game, right? The more possessions you have, the more points you're going to score. The more points you score, the more likely you are to win. Hey, that University of Miami degree is really paying off for me right now. I will tell you that. You're watching Locked On Heat postcast. Jim Grieshaber call. Me, Grease. On the other side, we are going to talk a little bit more about the way that Jimmy Butler took over this game, the way that this Miami Heat team is constructed right now, built for the playoffs, obviously. How do they get to that point in the regular season where you're winning your home games and you win 30 games at home, where you're not just giving away and being dominated by a team like Orlando? Still haven't seen the Bam Adebayo that we want to see this year, 12-11, you know, after what he did in the Olympics. And he was a starter and he was on the floor in some big moments for that team. And, you know, it was awesome to see and thinking it would carry over. We'll talk about that too on the other side. Locked On Heat postcast on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Dolphins tomorrow, of course, Canes and Duke next week. Just a great time to be a sports fan. On the other side, talk more about Jimmy Butler and the way he took over this game tonight against the Charlotte Hornets. But first, I talk to you about the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars awarded in winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. Easy, right? You just pick more or less, at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. It's the best place to get real money sports action. Over 10 million users, can't be wrong. You sign up today. Check out Flex Play as well. They invented the Flex Play at Prize Picks, which means you can still cash out. Even if your lineup isn't perfect, you can double your money, even if one of your picks doesn't hit. And how many books do that for you? Prize Picks puts its members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. Hey, when my picks hit, I'm getting that money in about 15 minutes. Sign up today, get $50 instantly when you play 5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks also offers weekly promotions that could lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday. Each Tuesday, Prize Picks is not going to send you tacos, but they're going to discount select player projections of 25% to provide even more value to your lineup so you can win more money, buy more tacos. See how it goes? Download the app today. Use the code LOCKEDONMMA or LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. The app is downloadable today. You go get it. You use the code LOCKEDONMLB, LOCKEDONNBA. Hang it. LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. And it is highly imagined and encouraged for you to run your game with Prize Picks. On the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And we are having a good time here with you tonight in the MIA. The Heat win on the road against the Hornets, 114-106 in Charlotte. You had the Hurricanes beating Florida State, and now you got the Dolphins with Tua coming back, playing the Cardinals tomorrow. Good time to be a Miami sports fan right now, ladies and gentlemen, as we continue on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Jim Grieshaber, call me Grease. I mean, Jimmy Butler played a terrible game the other night for Miami. Terrible. He scored 3 points, had 4 rebounds, and 5 assists. Shot 12.5% from the field in the opener against Orlando. Got worked by Banchero and France, didn't they? But not tonight. 26, 8, and 8 for the Butler, doing it all night long. Jimmy B, those numbers will be up there by the end of the year. Don't forget, I mean, he shot 47, just about 47% tonight, 33% from 3. Free throw percentage could have been up a little bit more. Could have given him maybe 30 points on the night. But, yeah, Jimmy is you know, it seems like he's healthy. It seems like he's ready to go. You know, so we will see. His biggest flaws is durability, and we know with the contract year and all that stuff. So we'll see. But we know Jimmy Butler's a great player, and we know he's going to come through time and again for the Miami Heat throughout the season because he always does, man. He always does. Let's be real. He's Jimmy Butler. He is Jimmy Butler. But another thing from Miami that I really found to be interesting in this game, is the number of threes that they took. They took 34 threes, 14 for 34, and Charlotte 13 for 41. So Miami made one more while taking less. When they shoot over 40% and they're in the 30s with their attempts on threes, look up there. And I literally wish I could do this right now, but I'm live on the air. But I'll tell you this, look up their numbers because when they do that, they're almost unbeatable. They are almost unbeatable. And we'll hit the graphics for you and show you some more things before we get out of here momentarily. But they're almost unbeatable when they do that. And if you look at this team and you look at the season and you look at what they have coming up, and yeah, obviously Detroit, shouldn't say Chicago State, Detroit coming up, and you know, Miami's had some really good runs in the postseason. Josh Richardson, by the way, the shooting guard, is still out. Kevin Love is still out. So they're still out with injuries, and they're obviously important parts of this team. Rozier played well again tonight, too, with 19 points. I like him at that point guard spot for this team. Always have. So you got the where are we at here? You got the Hornets. All right, Magic, Hornets, Pistons, Knicks, Wizards, Kings, Suns. Or they're at the Suns on November 6th out in Phoenix. Suns looking good so far with Book and KD. So a good win. And look, when you got outscored the way they did by the Magic's front court in the opener, in the second half, they just rolled past the Heat. It was like they weren't even there. So the intensity was there tonight. The focus was there without a doubt. So that was important for Miami to dig themselves out of that hole early in the season. So Jovic was good again, by the way, 10 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists for him in 30 minutes, 26, 8, and 8 mentioned for Butler, 12 and 11 for Bam with 3 assists and a block. Tyler Herro, 22 points, 5 3-pointers. Rozier, 19 points, 3 3-pointers. Duncan Robinson only had 4. And let's see. Bryant had 6, Burks had 9, and Jacques Jr. had 6 in 22 minutes. Highsmith and Johnson didn't play. Smith only played 3 minutes, did not score. How about Charlotte? It was Ball with 27 and obviously 8 and 7. 15 for Curry. Seth Curry, not Steph. Bridges with 16. Richards 12. Martin 10. Mann with 14 off the bench. Williams 7. Diabate 5 for Charlotte. As they were unable. It's an 8-point game, but they were really unable to get anything. They were listless tonight. Turnovers, 5-second calls. These are the things that the Miami Heat defense causes. And that's what they did tonight. And that's why they won this game. That and Jimmy Butler in the fourth quarter. When you're able to play through Jimmy the way they did on the fourth quarter, and this is what I don't understand, right? And this is going to take a team of experts to break this down. Locked On Heat, by the way, they're great every day as well. But with the new offense, it's going to take a while to get that flow going. I like the way they worked through Jimmy. I like the way Jimmy was involved, touching the ball multiple times on every possession in the fourth quarter. It should be that way for Miami if they're going to succeed this year. It should be. Without a doubt, it should be. So Jimmy B doing a good job. Jimmy Buckets tonight, and he lived up to the name. Playing through him, assists, making the right plays, and just a pass that led to the pass that leads to the basket. You know what I mean? So that's where it was tonight. And the defensive intensity was cranked up all night long, and that's something that really is important for this team. They're gonna play through that defense. They're gonna play through that defensive intensity, the turnovers, the easy buckets. They're always gonna do that. That's their way. And you know that Richardson's going to come back, and you know that Love's going to give you the rebounding, limited role, of course. It's going to help Bam out a lot. Bam's got to pick it up, no doubt. And we'll see, with Detroit coming up on Monday. Detroit basketball. Remember the Pistons and the Heat in the 2000s, man? Those Eastern Conference Finals in 05, couldn't get by them. 06 got by them. I was at all those games, man. Those were some good times back in the day. Some really good times. Back in the day, those Heat Pistons rivalry games in the playoffs all those years ago, Knicks and Bulls in the 90s, Pistons in the 2000s. Then the Heatles had their fair share with the Pacers, with the Thunder, you know what I'm saying, with the Celtics. Yeah, there's a lot of fun thinking back through the years. But, this team's pretty good too. When you look at the Eastern Conference, I'm not really all that. If you look at the Heat's division, right? And you look at the standings already, and the Lakers, by the way, another impressive win tonight. I don't know what, maybe they're 3-0, but Miami at 1-1. They're in the middle of the pack with the Knicks, Bucks, Pacers. Good company there, right? Bulls and Raptors at 1-2 each, but the Celtics, Cavs, Hawks undefeated. Celtics and Cavs 3-0, Hawks 2-0. Magic 2-1, Knicks 1-1, Bucks, as I mentioned, 1-1, Heat, Pacers. So the play-in, obviously, you don't want to be in the play-in at the end of the year. And if you don't start winning those home games, guys, you're not going to be there. I don't know what it is about. They had a bad home record last year. We're going to have to delve into that in upcoming shows as we continue with your Locked On Heat postcast. 114-106. They go to Charlotte and they get it done. Jimmy Butler, 13 of his 26 points in the fourth quarter, 26, 8, and 8. The maestro, Jimmy Buckets, holding it down and closing it out as Jimmy B has done so many times for Miami. You can charge $100 for a cup of coffee if you're going to close games out like that. All right. Step aside, take a quick little break here. I'm not going anywhere. I'm just reading a commercial. But when I resume this show, we will give you, yes, we will, the graphics, right? We're talking about the final score, the turning point, and the star of the game. We do that next on the Locked On Podcast Network, Locked On Heat Postcast. Yeah, we are here. Jim Grieshaber. Call me Grease, at @JimGrease_ on social media. And I get to tell you about FanDuel. NBA fans, you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's numero uno, America's #1 sports book. So when you get a hunch in the middle of a game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. And here's the real rub. You're going to get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every single day. Jim Grieshaber, call me Grease, and we are having fun here tonight. We're going to, you know what I'm saying? We're going to get on out of here in just a couple of minutes, but first things first, we got to do our little business. You know what I'm saying? This is ridiculous, too. I swear to God, every time I try to upload an overlay into this thing, it says it's taking too long, and it makes you do it again. So sometimes it takes a couple of times longer. Hey, but we're okay with that. By the way, while you're here, smash that subscribe button, hit the bell so you know that you'll be alerted when we're on again, because we got the Heat, we got the Dolphins, we got the Canes, all those things going your way here on Locked On Sports Miami. And then, of course, you know what I mean? Besides just the bell and subscribing, come on in, talk to us in the chat, engage with us. We're going to have a lot of fun. We always do. We always do here on the Locked On Heat postcast, and especially when they win. Last year, they lost in the play-in game when Jimmy Butler got hurt. They were looking pretty good, and it didn't work out well for them. But, you know, end of the day, they are always going to be there. You know what I mean? At the end of the season, look, the Pacers are good. The Knicks are good. Bucks could be real good, but they're a coaching carousel. And then you got Orlando with a big, strong push this year. Atlanta could be better. There's a lot of really good teams. I mean, the Celtics are the Celtics, right? So you're talking about Celtics. Cleveland's really good. So many teams. You know, Philly could be in real trouble. They're 0-2, and they're going to load manage Embiid. I think they're screwed. I think Philly's in big trouble. Brooklyn is in big trouble as well. But, man, it's going to be interesting to see how things push forward from here for Miami and Jimmy Butler. All right, first things first. And again, we got to get these graphics fixed. So if the powers that be are watching this, the final score, that's 114-106. There's not enough room for the other ones in the graphics, and I can't change the size of them myself. So it looks like 14-06, but it's 114-106. I'll have those guys fix that for you as soon as we can. How about the moment? These are the moments. All right, here it is. Jimmy Butler takes over in the fourth quarter. The defensive intensity after the lead had been wiped out. Big shots down the stretch, but it was Jimmy Butler taking over in the fourth quarter, scoring 13 of his 26 points, 8 and 8 rebounds and steals, or rebounds and assists as well for Jimmy Butler. And, of course, that means that the star of the game is Jimmy Butler. 26 points as he took over. See how he is there? Just kind of backing the defender down right off the elbow, just off to the side of the rim there, and he can do so many things in that offense. Cutters coming through the middle, shooters going to the corners, and he can take it and score it himself. And you saw a bunch of that on all fronts tonight with Jimmy B. Great job by Jimmy Butler. Down the stretch he came and really did, serve the Hornets. In the fourth, that should say Pistons coming in on Monday, and the Detroit basketball Pistons are 0-3. And we could never see them struggle enough, right? I mean, they have some issues. Jason Tatum just literally killed them. And you know what I mean? They're just not a very good team. They're just not a very good team, the Pistons. They're not. I mean, they could be good in the future. And look, I mean, Cunningham is really good, man. He's averaging 30 a game. Ivy's not bad either. Their backcourt's really good, but the rest of that team, man, oh man, Beasley, Harris, Hardaway Jr., Duran, miss me with that team. They should get smoked by Miami on Monday. I'm looking forward to that game. So don't forget, we got let me just make sure here. We got the Dolphins tomorrow. Let's take a peek at that one for you, because the Canes won tonight, 36-14, beating FSU. And so we got NFL football tomorrow. And let's just make sure, because the Dolphins and the Cardinals play at 10 a.m. Why does it show me Pacific time? It's 1 p.m. It's 1 p.m. So Tua's coming back, and the Dolphins hope they'll get that spark against the Cardinals. So that game is at 1 p.m., and we'll be on right after with the postcast. Arizona 3-4, Miami 2-4. Dolphins favored by 3.5, and Tua expected to start for the first time since week 2. man, his concussion against the Bills. So we'll see the Dolphins run as well, the run defense against James Conner, and Kyler Murray. So Tua and Kyler Murray with the Dolphins, and the Arizona Cardinals playing tomorrow, and then the Heat and the Pistons on Monday night. That's going to be a lot of fun too. The Heat and the Pistons in Miami. So the Heat coming back home with a 1-1 record. Jimmy Butler playing well. Bam Adebayo a little bit better tonight. A little bit better. Tyler Herro stayed consistent throughout the game. Hit the shots in the second half that he was hitting in the first half, as opposed to the other night when he went ice cold in the second half and they got run off the floor by Orlando, and the front court for the Magic just dominated Miami. But great job tonight all the way across the board. All right, that's going to do it for us. Your Locked On Heat postcast. That's all there is, Heat fans. There is no more. I love you, Mad Dog. Jim Nantich, little tribute to him there, one of my biggest mentors, along with Jeff DeForest. Shout out to the Deef as well. But a good night in Miami. The Canes won. Dolphins looking good, getting Tua back. The Heat off the schneid. They're 1-1. And so a good night for South Florida sports this evening. And we are about done with it here, at least on Locked On Sports Miami and the Locked On Podcast Network. A reminder, you're going to get your favorite team every day here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Check out Locked On Heat every day as well. And that podcast, your favorite podcast, has a newsletter, the Locked On Heat Daily Newsletter, one stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com. Start your day with the all-new free Locked On Heat newsletter. All right, Jim Grieshaber, call me Grease at Jim Grease _ 114 to 106. Again, the star of the game, Jimmy Buckets, 26-13 in the fourth quarter, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, good defense. But again, being that closer, being the guy like he has the ball right there, those eyes all over the court, making the passes, making the right plays, hitting the shooters. Confidence grows through Jimmy. He'd have to play through him, and he guides everybody to what they're doing. So great job by Jimmy Butler tonight. And again, that moment, taking over in the fourth quarter. Look at him drawing all those defenders. 2 of them are looking at him. 2 of them are on him. That's Jimmy Butler at his best right there, and that should be 114 to 106. We need the graphics fixed if you're watching. Can't stretch those boxes, but you know what I'm saying. So the Canes win. Tua's coming back for the Fins. Heat 1-1. Pistons on Monday. Next week, Miami plays Duke, and that's going to be a lot of fun as well. But the Canes undefeated in the ACC right now, and the Heat going to 101, 1-1 with the victory. Keep your game tight and your mind right, Heat fans. 114-106 the final. They win in Charlotte, coming back Monday for Detroit. Thank you for being here. Locked On Heat Postcast and Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.